Hello, I'm Dango Rose. Welcome to the Mountaineer Podcast, where everybody's listening. The Mountaineer brings you the latest news of the Peak to Peak region, in print, online, through our podcast, social media, and special publications. Now, listen in to the latest news of the area with our local journalists.
Hello there, everybody. My name is Jamie Lammers, and welcome to Music of the Mountains, Where to Be and What to See, brought to you by the Mountaineer Podcast. This week, I'm featuring an artist with two shows on the same weekend, so be sure to stay tuned to learn more about those two performances. In Music of the Mountains, we want to make sure we keep you up to date with all of the great music events in the Peak to Peak area, and that includes music events from this week's sponsor, Eldora Mountain Resort. Skip the epic traffic on I-70 and head to Eldora for good vibes all season long. Eldora is your go-to spot for non-stop winter fun, with great local skiing and riding, plus slopeside DJs and the App Race Music Series. Don't miss the Full Moon Ski Tour, the Timbers Rail Jam, or the Morning Uphill Grind. Get all the details and check out weekly events at eldora.com. See you on the mountain! And now, for this week's Music of the Mountains.
All right. Do you mind just introducing yourself real quick?
So my name is Emma Sky Quarterman, and I'm a musician, singer-songwriter. Grew up in Netherlands, was born in Leadville, Colorado, and I've been in Boulder since 2010, and yeah.
Sweet. And you will be performing at UC Brews very soon?
I'll be performing at Very Nice in Gilpin. Very Nice Brewery in Gilpin.
Occasionally I do that. Occasionally I get the venues mixed up in my head. Sorry about that.
Totally. I do it too. It's all good.
So how long have you been performing music in general? What's your story in general when it comes to music, especially here in Colorado?
Yeah. So I always liked music, and I wanted to be a musician from a pretty young age. I just identified with it. I was like, ooh, that seems like something I want to do. So like in school, I did choir with Miss Evans, and I think I did one musical in middle school or something. But anyways, so I kind of dabbled, and at the teen center, I helped host an open mic, and I played the banjo at that time and would come up with little songs. And then I ended up going to college at Naropa University and studying music there, and that was a very alternative music education and kind of hippy-dippy, and I didn't really have a primary instrument. I just kind of got the full spread of touching on composing, arranging, improvising, some music theory, stuff like that. And then honestly, after college, I was just shoot, what am I going to do? I need to make money. Music, I wasn't really good at music then at all. I could not do open mics. I was terrified to perform and was just overwhelmed with being 22 and needing to pay rent basically. So yeah, I just kind of soul searched for, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 years, and every journey I ever went on just said music, music, music. Anyways, so at one point I decided to get into real estate because I was I need to make money, but I want to have lots of time to do music. And actually, I read this book called Atomic Habits, and that book just changed my game. I was reading it for business, but I immediately applied everything I learned to music. And basically, I think I was 25 or 26. So this was 4 or 5 years ago, and I started practicing every day, tracking my habits, and just becoming really aware of just kind of what it takes to get better at an instrument. And I basically just learned covers of all my favorite songs. And yes, I did that for a while, kind of self-taught for a year, just playing guitar and singing. And then I was all right, it's time for some lessons. So I took lessons for about a year, and then I was all right, time to start performing. So then I did. I set a goal to do one open mic for every month of that year, and I believe I did. I don't think I missed a month. I did one open mic every month of, I don't know, it's probably 2024 maybe it was. Yeah, and then after that, I was all right. And then I started going to song school, which is this great, basically, retreat for songwriters at Planet Bluegrass in Lyons. And yeah, I went to that, and I was holy moly, everyone here is obsessed with songwriting. And that was always my heart of hearts, passion was just coming up with my own stuff and just hearing, beautiful melody ideas on chords that I loved. And so I was holy guacamole. And so then, yeah, that song school really propelled me. And by the next fall, like song school is in August. By the next August, I had booked a bunch of gigs for that fall. So it like really propelled me. I also did a songwriter retreat in February of last year called Upstream Songwriting Retreat, and that's in Estes in the winter, and that propelled me as well. So yeah, then I did song school last August again, so the second time, and just keeps growing, and I've been writing a ton of songs, and then lately I've been learning a bunch of covers for the Valentine's Day show, wanting to like play some songs everyone knows and whatnot. But yeah, that's kind of my journey, and kind of along that road, around the time that I started doing open mics, I reached out to like a local school in Boulder and was like, hey, I don't really teach guitar, I'm not like advanced, but I'm like definitely like intermediate, and like I just love learning, and I just love music. And Robbie at the Harmony House was like, hey, you know, you seem like a chill person, like sometimes it's just like your personality, you know. And so he interviewed me, and I started teaching guitar and songwriting to like kids and adults, but usually with the adults we just end up being friends, so we just hang out and play music. But yeah, so I also teach, and yeah, so that's kind of the journey.
Super cool. Do you teach music or something else kind of adjacent to that, but not quite?
Yeah, I teach guitar, and I teach songwriting, and I teach voice. It's all private lessons. I've done some group classes and stuff like that, but yeah, basically I just help kids like get better music and like learn songs that they love and understand it, and it's a blast.
Sweet. And so in terms of songwriting especially, you know, how long have you been into songwriting? You know, what got you started, and what's motivated you to keep going into songwriting, all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I've always loved songwriting, just like the idea of like publishing this idea. Like when I was a kid, I like scribbled all over my Smash Mouth CD and wrote like my own name, and like I called it Dear Diary. Like that was my album name or something. Like I just always had that drive to like make a thing out of music. And yeah, I mean, I've been writing songs like in high school. I was writing songs. I wasn't like doing a lot with it, but I was at school, you know, people knew I played guitar, and like I said, at the teen center and whatnot. But yeah, writing songs for me is like how I process emotions, and like I feel like I have a very active mind, which is pretty common these days. Yeah, for me it's just like kind of a lot. So I just find that like when I can sit down, play a few chords that I like, and then just kind of start mumbling out words, like usually they're helping me like process something that has been like tumbling around in my brain, eating away at my energy, you know, where it's like I can like sit down and be like, start singing about it, and it just calms me down, and it helps me put certain like things I don't understand into like perspective. And yeah, I guess like it's both a way to process intellectual and emotional things, as it is a place to just bathe in the sound and like the vibrations and the harmonies and all that.
Sweet. And yeah, and what styles, you talked about early influences of alternative especially, but like what styles have you leaned more into over the last few years, and especially with influences and inspirations, what have stuck out to you?
Totally. Yeah, I was thinking a lot about this, because I feel like when you sent that text, and I was like, shoot, I don't even know how to answer that. I feel like a bit of like a mix right now. I don't feel like I've fully found my sound, but I'm really inspired by Chris Stapleton. I love pop hits that aren't like too plastic sounding. Like Chris Stapleton's got like an earthy country vibe. His songs are super good, super catchy, just never boring, soulful. His voice is amazing. Guitar is sick. So I guess I'm like pretty inspired by him in the way that like his craft is very refined and it's working, and I love the sound. And I guess, yeah, it's crazy. It's all over the place, because my comfort music that I listen to on the regular would be like R&B, like pop R&B or like alternative R&B, kind of like back in the day it was Usher and Beyonce, Christina Aguilera, and then like these days it's like The Weeknd and SZA, Leon Bridges, Emily King. I just love like smooth vocals and just like a chill vibe with like a real digestible arrangement, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Sweet. And yeah, so in that similar vein, you know, what has stuck out to you most about performing this kind of music and being able to share it with people, and especially the songs that you write?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say like what comes to mind is like the experience of playing music and like performing is a whole nother beast to writing and playing at home and practicing. And I'd say like my bread and butter is like being home practicing, but I love performing. And the thing that comes to mind when you ask that question is like just my own personal like overwhelm and anxiety around performing. And even if I'm mentally prepared, music's prepared and I've got my like people person face on, my body still goes into like a fight or flight, so like, and I'm working on it, learning, getting more familiar just with my body and my whole nervous system. But like, if I'm not like in touch with my breath and just being grounded, I just don't have that much fun playing because I'm honestly just like trying to get through it. It almost feels forced. And so like my curiosity and kind of my research in a way within myself and just within, the realm of performing is like, how do I as a performer like bring my calmest, most centered, grounded self to the stage so that I can like really deliver from a calm, like loving place that feels really good for me. I want my audience to have a great time, and also I want to be up there just totally content. Like, I don't want to be stressed. I want to be filled with joy, sharing my art. I like attention. I like being in front of people. Like, I really enjoy that. So I'm kind of like working on that right now, and I'm just doing a lot of healing work and stuff like that just to like get to know my nervous system and how to like take care of myself and prepare for performances.
Yeah, so in general as well, what sticks out to you about, especially performing here in Colorado, what sticks out to you about the music scene here and being able to perform in this community?
Totally. Well, there's a pretty rich culture of music here. There's so many songwriters that go to song school, and yeah, there's a lot of bands too, and I feel like everyone really supports each other, and just like any smallish area, between Boulder, Ned, and like Estes and Lyons and whatnot, Longmont, Lafayette, Louisville, like we got a pretty solid network. And like, I think once you, book yourself and start to meet some of these other musicians, like they hit you up and they're like, hey, do you want to do, split this set with me, or do you want to open for me? And it definitely like can snowball on itself for sure. And like, these gigs like pay a little bit, like the ones I've gotten so far, just as a like novice. I can't really speak to like actually booking gigs that pay better, like at bars and stuff like that. But so far I've had a lot of luck getting gigs, especially in Ned, since half the people know me from when I was a kid.
Amazing. Yeah, and that community and that Colorado music scene world and the way that you've developed in this community, it's developed a lot, and you've made a lot of connections, and things have kind of been building. And I think that might culminate in another event that I really want to make sure I shout out, because I think we can hit 2 in 1 with this particular promotion. If I'm remembering this correctly, you are part of the Women of the Mountains lineup this year.
Yes. So my friend Ella Running Rabbit, she's such a badass. Yeah, you've probably heard her play. She's been doing the singer-songwriter thing for a long time. And yeah, she put together this event to bring together like artist women in the area. And there's going to be a lineup of singer-songwriters. We're each going to be playing like 3 songs each. There's going to be vendors, like women who make handmade goods like jewelry and things like that. And then there's going to also be visual artists. And yeah, so Ella, she's the coolest, and she literally put this whole thing together. She knows everyone, and she's also a craftswoman herself and a singer-songwriter. So yeah, that's on the February 15th, and I'm really looking forward to that as well.
Sweet.
That is at Ned General.
Yeah, in general, what do you hope people take away from your performances, your music? What do you just hope people will be able to take away when they come to see you?
Oh, I love that question so much. So my hope, I'm going to be experimenting a bit at this next gig, just kind of doing covers, doing originals, but I wanted to also do some more instrumental stuff. I might throw in a couple surprise instrumentation choices, do some looping, stuff like that. So I want to mess around. I want to experiment. I want to be okay, like, with making a mistake and, just allowing room for whatever to happen in a way. And I'm saying that because when I see people do that, take chances and show up, even with imperfections, I'm super inspired. And that is what I would want my audience to feel like. I love the idea of like reaching like that dad or whatever that like gave up on guitar when he had kids, right? But then he like comes to see my show and, he sees me like mess up my solo and then just like try again. And then it's sick, and then we all like are happy and move on to the next song, and he could be like, maybe I can still play guitar. Or just like, I just want to inspire people really, and I want to make them happy. I want people to smile. I want people to feel love in their hearts and joy, and just leave the show being like, dang, that was awesome.
Absolutely. And I don't know, is there just anything else in general that you would love to be able to add as well in terms of what you're doing, what musical projects you're working on, anything else in terms of your artistic interests? I don't know, anything in general?
Sure. I'd say, the future for me is booking more gigs, getting my name out there a little bit more, recording an album. I would love to have like a little band, like a trio. Yeah, just thinking, like that. Just be playing out more, kind of become more of a local name and like have some, like a record or, an archive of like my more recent stuff that I've been working on.
For sure. And I don't know. I think those are the big questions that I have on my end.
Thanks. Cool.
Yeah. So I want to thank you so much for taking the time to jump on and do this interview. This was really great.
Yeah, thank you, Jamie. I have been fantasizing about being interviewed for for at least a few years since I started really practicing a lot. So feels cool.
Amazing. I'm glad that I could bring you on. I'm very excited about that.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you so much to Emma for coming on board and joining us for the podcast. She'll be performing at Very Nice Brewing Company located at 180 Jankowski Drive in Blackhawk on Saturday, February 14th, 2026, starting at 5 p.m. So celebrate Valentine's Day by heading to this performance. If you can't make that performance, the day after, Sunday, February 15th, she'll perform as part of the lineup for the 2026 Women of the Mountain Festival, hosted at Ned General at 112 East 2nd Street in Nederland. The festival goes from 10:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. Be sure to keep up with Emma Sky Quarterman on Facebook and on her Instagram at Emma Sky Music. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in to this week's Music of the Mountains, Where to Be and What to See, brought to you by the Mountain Ear Podcast. We'll be back very soon with another episode. In the meantime, be sure to subscribe to the Mountain Ear Podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Spotify, Apple Music, Podchaser, YouTube, the whole works. You can also subscribe to the digital or physical edition of the Mountaineer newspaper by heading to our website at themtnear.com and clicking on the subscribe button in the top right corner of our homepage. Be sure to follow us on social media by heading to Facebook, YouTube, and our Instagram at mtn.ear. And be sure to keep an ear out for other upcoming episodes of the Mountain Ear Podcast. If you have any general questions about the podcast, be sure to email me at media@themountaineer.com or my co-host Tyler Hickman at tyler@themountaineer.com. For any general inquiries, be sure to reach out to our editor-in-chief Barbara Hart at info@themountaineer.com or to frontdesk@themountaineer.com. We'll see you guys next time. Have a great rest of your day. The song that you are currently listening to is called Feels Like Ooh. It's a dance track written and performed by Emma Sky Quarterman, and you can listen to it now along with other original songs by Emma on her SoundCloud, Emma Sky. You can also find her on Facebook and on Instagram at Emma Sky Music. She'll be performing in 2 different shows on Valentine's Day weekend. First, on Valentine's Day, she'll be performing at Very Nice Brewing Company, located at 180 Jankowski Drive in Blackhawk. And the next day, on Sunday, February 15th, she'll be performing as part of the lineup of the Women of the Mountain Festival 2026 at Ned General Store, located at 112 East 2nd Street in Nederland. Be sure to head to one of those performances to see her live.
Hands on my body, I got my hands on the earth. Hands on my body, I got my hands on the earth. Come on. Hands on my body, I got my hands on the earth. I got my hands on my body, I got my hands on the earth. Hands on my body, power in my hands on my body, I got my hands on the earth. Come on. Hands on my body, I got my hands on the earth. I got my hands on my body, I got my hands on the earth.
And that's it for our show. Subscribe online to get more access to more news, weekly updates to our community calendar, and a link to our YouTube channel by visiting themountaineer.com. Be sure to use the coupon code PODCAST when subscribing for a 10% discount, only available to our listeners. If you are in the local Peak to Peak area, be sure to pick up a print edition of The Mountaineer at a local business. I'm Dango Rose. Thank you for listening.